7 minutes ago, something happened that no one saw coming. After months of silence, Jimmy Evans has finally spoken up about Joni Lamb. And what he just said is already sending shockwaves through the Christian world. People are stunned. Some are confused. And others? They're finally putting the pieces together. This isn't just another church disagreement. This is deeper. It's personal. And it's about a woman many saw as untouchable. For a long time, Joni Lamb stood at the front of Daystar, smiling on camera, sharing Bible verses and preaching family values. But behind the cameras, something else was happening. Whispers started. Private meetings turned cold. And now, one of the most respected Christian leaders, Jimmy Evans, has come forward. Why now? Why after all this time? That's the question on everyone's mind. Let's go back for a moment. Behind closed doors at Daystar, tensions were growing. Joni's own family was pulling away. Her son, Jonathan Lamb, quietly stepped down from his position. His wife, Susie, stopped appearing on screen. Viewers began asking, where are they? What's going on? But no answers came. Until now. Jimmy Evans, someone Joni trusted deeply, has finally broken his silence. And what he's revealed might change how people see Daystar forever. He wasn't just a guest preacher. He wasn't just a friend of the family. Jimmy was someone who had access to the inside. He knew things the public didn't. And now he's saying that what went on behind the scenes was not only painful, but dangerous. He says something went wrong. Very wrong. But before we get into what he revealed, here's something you need to understand. This story isn't just about Joni. It's about power. It's about silence. And it's about the weight of secrets in the church. You'll hear things that will make you shake your head. You'll hear things that may change how you look at Christian TV forever. And once you hear what Jimmy Evans finally confessed, you'll understand why so many people close to Joni have quietly walked away. This isn't gossip. This is testimony. And for the first time, the truth is being brought to light. Stay with me because what comes next is even more shocking. So what exactly did Jimmy Evans say? He didn't go live. He didn't post it all over the internet. But in a private conversation that leaked out just days ago, his words finally gave people a look inside what's really been happening with Joni Lamb. Jimmy said he was brought into a situation that felt more like a setup than a spiritual meeting. He said the atmosphere at Daystar wasn't peaceful, it was tense. And when he sat down with Jonathan and Susie Lamb, Joni's own son and daughter-in-law, he could feel it. The air was heavy. People were afraid to speak. You could tell something was wrong. And then Jimmy was asked to do something he never expected. He was told to convince Jonathan to submit to his mom. Not just listen to her. Not just respect her. But fully obey her, like she was the voice of God. That's when Jimmy said he got uncomfortable. According to what's now being shared, Jimmy told Jonathan that in the eyes of Daystar, Joni is the voice of God inside that building. Jonathan was stunned. Susie was speechless. And honestly, who wouldn't be? Since when does a Christian leader claim that someone else speaks for God completely? Since when does honoring your parent mean surrendering your will? People are calling this spiritual control. Others are calling it emotional manipulation. And the most shocking part? Jimmy Evans didn't back down from those words. He stood by them. But now, things are changing. Jimmy is no longer silent. People close to him say he's starting to see how much damage this caused. That meeting wasn't healing, it was heartbreaking. And for Jonathan and Susie, it was the moment they realized they had to walk away. That's right. Joni's own son felt pushed out of Daystar. Not because of money. Not because of fame. But because he dared to question the way things were being handled. And the man asked to put him in check was Jimmy Evans. Think about that. A man who teaches marriage, trust, and biblical love, caught in the middle of a spiritual battle that turned into a family crisis. But that's not even the worst part. Because right after that meeting, something else happened. And it shocked everyone who knew the family. Stick around because what happened next might just explain everything. 2 days after that painful meeting with Jimmy Evans, Jonathan and Susie made a decision. They couldn't keep quiet anymore. They gathered the family. They said it was time to talk. Not fight. Not argue. But speak from the heart. They all showed up. They wanted answers. They wanted peace. They wanted to understand why everything felt so broken. But Joni, she didn't stay long. According to Jonathan, she gave each person just 60 seconds to talk. 1 minute. That's all. Then she stood up, said they were full of fear and walked out. She didn't wait to hear the rest. She didn't stay to pray. She didn't even cry. She rushed off to catch a flight to New York, to be with Doug Weiss. Yes, Doug, the man she married just months after Marcus Lamb passed away. And that marriage, it's been one of the biggest reasons people started asking questions. You see, after Marcus died, many people hoped Joni would take time to heal, to grieve, to seek God's peace. But just months later, news broke that she was getting married again, to someone who had just filed for divorce from his wife of 30 years. That raised eyebrows. Even longtime friends of Daystar like Denise Boggs were stunned. Denise had been close to the Lamb family for years. She'd counseled Doug and his former wife during their struggles. She knew the inside story. And she didn't stay quiet. She wrote a long letter to the Lamb family, begging them to step in. She said something wasn't right. She said Joni was being influenced. She even wrote that Doug Weiss was a wolf in sheep's clothing. Let that sink in. This wasn't some internet troll. This was someone who had prayed with the family, worked with the ministry, and knew both sides. And she believed that what was happening at Daystar wasn't from God. According to the letter, Denise felt Joni was being spiritually blinded. That the man she was marrying had no business standing on a Christian platform. She even said the enemy was now using Daystar to mock the meaning of marriage. That letter didn't go public right away. But it made its way to Jonathan. And when he read it, he couldn't stay silent. He confronted his mom. He told her the truth. But again, Joni didn't want to hear it. And just like before, she walked away. That moment changed everything. Not just for Jonathan, but for people watching from the outside too. Because now it wasn't just rumors. It wasn't just drama. It was clear. Something was wrong behind the scenes at Daystar. And Jimmy Evans? He was right in the middle of it. But even he didn't expect what would happen next. Because just when everyone thought the drama was over, a secret from the past came back. Something involving Marcus. Something that had been buried for years. And it's the one thing that might explain why everything is falling apart now. Don't go anywhere. The next part is the most shocking yet. There's something no one saw coming. A few years ago, before Marcus Lamb passed away, something happened in the Lamb family that almost no one talked about. Not on TV. Not in interviews. Not even at church. Jonathan said he caught a family member in a situation that broke his heart. He believed this person had done something terrible to his young daughter. Something no parent should ever have to face. He did what any dad would do. He stood up, he spoke out, and he demanded answers. But instead of support, he got silence. He said his mom, Joni, didn't believe him. That she and Marcus defended the other person. Said he was innocent without even doing a real investigation. Jonathan felt like his own parents chose sides, and not his. Weeks later, Marcus told him the investigation was done. That the family member was cleared. But no police report. No serious questions asked. Just over. Jonathan and Susie didn't forget. And years later, they found out the investigation was full of holes. Things were missed. Big things. Then just like that, Marcus died. And everything got worse. Joni moved fast. Too fast. 2 months later, she was already planning to marry Doug Weiss. And that meeting with Jimmy Evans? It was never about healing. It was about control. They wanted Jonathan to stop talking. To stay quiet. To act like nothing happened. But he couldn't. Because this wasn't just about church politics or family drama. This was about truth. This was about protecting their daughter. And now the truth is finally coming out. People are seeing a side of Daystar, and of Joni, that they never imagined. For years they saw the big smiles, the powerful sermons, the family prayers on live TV. But behind the scenes, there was pain. There were secrets. And for the first time, those secrets are no longer hidden. Jimmy Evans, who once stood at the center of it all, now finds himself in a very strange place. The man who claimed Joni was the voice of God is now being questioned too. Because if she was really speaking for God, why did her whole family turn away? Why did people like Denise Boggs, people who loved Daystar, beg her to stop? Why does it feel like everything that once made Daystar strong is now falling apart? No one can answer that except Joni. But one thing's clear. This story isn't just about one meeting, one marriage, or one ministry. It's about what happens when power, pain, and silence collide. It's about how far people will go to protect an image, even if it costs them everything. And it's a reminder to all of us. Just because something looks godly, doesn't mean it is. The truth always comes out. Even if it takes years. Even if it hurts. Even if it shocks the world. Because no matter how long it takes, truth has a way of finding its voice. And this time it's louder than ever.